why do you need a vision for healing? And this is actually a really great picture. So I think it's important, like here you are now, right? And then if your goal was to climb this mountain, let's say, like you need to know where you're going so that you can kind of figure out how am I going to get there? And so that you can recognize if this is your goal, like how much closer have you gotten to it? So I loved this image. Sometimes it's hard for me to find images that really represent what I want to say, but that was a good one. So I think when you're in the midst of this, what I hear a lot of women say is like, I want to heal, I just don't know how, or I want to be able to do this, or I want to get here, but I just don't know how. And that's super common. That's probably why you're here. This is a chance to get some of your questions answered. And you've never been through this before. So it's okay to not know how you're going to get through this. But I think whether you or not you know how you're going to get there, it's still important to know where you want to go and what kind of future and what kind of that you desire, because that's going to be your motivation to do the hard work, because this is not an easy thing to get through. But having a vision for where you want to go will help you make decisions about what you do along the way and start to answer some of those questions about what do I do, as you start to think about things like what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, so you can set boundaries and prioritize self-care and start to understand your needs and desires, and really find your voice again, because you do get to have choices along the way, but you need to know what it is that you want. And that's a question I think as women we don't often ask ourselves. And this deep pain is an opportunity to look inside and really consider what your values are and what kind of life you desired to have and what kind of life you desire to have now. So you can think about like what kind of future would be worth the work that you're going to have to do to get there, and ask yourself questions like what you're willing to do to achieve that and what would happen if you don't get it or you settle for something less. And those are all questions that each woman, each of you gets to answer for yourself. They're not something that I can answer for you. But having the answers to those questions will be like a guiding light as you continue to do the healing work. It can be really scary. I know that because I've done it. And one of the questions that someone asked, I'm going to jump into that a little bit more in an answer. But when your motivation for your vision is greater than your fear, that is when you will start to take action to get where you want to go. That doesn't mean it will be easy. Like I said, I'm pretty straight shooter. This is like a long and difficult road, but like that picture that I showed at the beginning, your vision allows you to take little steps and know what kind of direct your steps, and to also, like I said, celebrate each success that you make, every step that you take to get there. And so I think those kind of things, when you know where you're trying to go, then you can be intentional about getting there and also celebrating the steps that you've taken, because sometimes those are hard to recognize. It feels like I'm not at the top of the mountain, but when you look back, you can see where you were and know that you're closer to where you want to go. So that is why I think vision is important for your healing.